I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was just fixing a busted thermal coil in storage bay 9 and trying not to drop my wrench into another vat of radioactive coolant. And that's when I heard the growling. Not the mechanical kind either. No, this had chesty bass and breathe behind it. A warning growl, low and throaty, like something that had both fur and bad intentions. Naturally, I did the intelligent thing. I ignored it. Turned up the audio dampener in my suit, kept working. Maybe it was just a malfunctioning vent filter or an echo from the air recycler. Then it growled again. Louder. Closer. So I did the second intelligent thing, opened the containment door and peeked inside. She was slumped in the corner, shackled at the wrists and ankles with thick aloe chains that looked like they'd been mangled by claws. Blood streaked her fur, silver gray with a shimmer under the light, and her eyes glowed faintly gold even though they were half-lidded. She wasn't just some wounded prisoner. She was a predator trying real hard not to keel over. Still had enough strength to bare her fangs when she noticed me. "Oh. Good," I muttered. "You're awake." She stared at me like she couldn't decide whether to lunge or pass out. The collar around her neck blinked with red lights, biosuppressors, aggression dampeners, and enough sedation to knock out a gorilla. Someone really didn't want her moving. "You hungry?" I said, because apparently my brain decided small talk was the move here. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a high-protein ration bar, flavorless, dry, probably manufactured during the Mars Depression. I unwrapped it and held it out. She blinked, sniffed, then lunged forward with terrifying speed, and didn't attack. She bit into the ration bar like it was her last meal, growling low but not at me. She was devouring it with desperate, furious chewing. "Right," I said, crouching beside her cautiously. "You're welcome." She finished the bar and stared at me with slow confusion, licking the crumbs off her fingers. Her hand was shaking. Instinct took over. I pulled a sleeve off my suit and gently wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. Her eyes widened. Her pupils dilated. Oh. That did something. Before I could back up, she leaned forward, still trembling, and licked my hand. Not a little lick. Full palm, from wrist to fingertips. Then she pressed her forehead to it. I said intelligently. "Okay. Sure. That's fine." She didn't respond. Just exhaled in a low whimper, then went limp again. A med drone zipped past me. She snarled at it. "I don't think she likes you," I told the drone. "Subject exhibits territorial response," the drone replied. "What?" "She is claiming you." "Like as a friend?" "No. As a mate." I blinked. No, I just fed her." "Correct. You fed her, touched her mouth, and allowed scent contact. In Lefarian courtship rituals, this constitutes a successful bond initiation." I wiped her chin. "Precisely. The intimacy level is consistent with a successful claiming." I gave her a snack and wiped her face. "How is that intimate?" "Species standards vary." I looked down at her. She had passed out, still holding my hand. Her claws were extended, curled protectively around my wrist. Even unconscious, she was clinging like I was a heated blanket on a cold night. I tried to pull my hand back. She growled. I froze. "Right," I whispered. "We'll just sit here. Together." When the med team arrived, she roused instantly. The growl this time was louder, deeper, like an engine revving in threat. One of the techs made the mistake of getting too close. She snapped her teeth. Not a bite, but the warning was clear. "She's protective of you," the medic said with obvious discomfort. "She thinks I proposed." "You didn't?" "No. She's following protocol from her species. You initiated a bond. If you reject it, she may become unstable." "Unstable how?" "She may attack. Or die of heartbreak. Possibly both." "Awesome." I glanced at her again. She was glaring at the med team while leaning against my side like a grumpy girlfriend guarding her boyfriend's hoodie. Her fur bristled every time one of them took a step forward. "Can I get a sedative?" I asked. "For her?" "For me." That night, I tried sleeping in my bunk. She followed me, stalked silently behind, then shoved her way inside and curled up at my feet. When I tried to move her, she snarled. When I left the bed, she whined and paced. When I climbed back in, she pressed herself against my side with a sigh that was way too pleased. "I'm not a body pillow," I grumbled. She growled softly, contented this time, and wrapped her tail around my leg. I didn't sleep much. Next morning, I stumbled into the mess hall. She followed 2 paces behind. When another crewman glanced at me, she made a low, guttural sound that made everyone freeze. "Mark?" Lieutenant Hughes asked. "Why is there a giant werewolf trailing you like an angry girlfriend?" "She's not my girlfriend. She's sniffing your neck. She thinks we're mated." "Are you?" "No. I gave her a protein bar." Hughes leaned closer. "Like just a protein bar?" "Yes." "Was it a red-wrapped one?" "Yes." He winced. "Yeah. In Lefarian culture, red means ceremonial offering. Why does everything in alien culture mean sex?" She pressed her nose into my shoulder and growled low. Everyone took a step back. "She really likes you," someone whispered. "No," I sighed. "She thinks she owns me." Her ears perked up. She licked my ear. I nearly dropped my tray. The growling started again when someone dared say I looked cute. From that point on, it didn't matter what I said. To her, I was hers. And she was going to snarl at every single living creature who looked at me for more than 2 seconds. I tried to file a formal protest. To who I wasn't sure. Command didn't exactly have a protocol for. "Accidentally mated with a territorial alien werewolf." The communication AI logged my request, flagged it as cultural relations issue, and told me to wait 48 hours for a mediator. I had 48 minutes before she picked a fight. She started with Lieutenant Jex. All he did was pass me a diagnostic pad. She growled so loud it vibrated the ceiling tiles. Jex dropped the pad and held his hands up like he just stepped into a predator's den. "She's got really sharp teeth," he muttered. "Like knife sharp. She won't hurt you. She's looking at my throat. Okay, maybe don't blink wrong." She sniffed my hand, then licked my palm again. It was starting to feel less like affection and more like reapplication. Like she was refreshing a scent marker. "You don't need to keep doing that," I told her. She curled her lip and licked harder. I wiped it on my pants. She growled. "Great," I muttered. "Now I've offended the werewolf girlfriend I didn't ask for." That night she dragged a pile of thermal blankets into my bunk and built what looked like a nest. Not metaphorically. A literal nest. She curled around me and placed her head on my chest like I was a warm stone. When I shifted to get comfortable, she growled. When I sneezed, she flinched, then yanked the covers up like she thought someone was attacking. "Do you even sleep?" Her ears twitched. I stared at the ceiling. "Nope. Me either." The next morning, I tried sneaking out while she slept. She caught me before I reached the hallway. I don't mean she woke up, I mean she grabbed my ankle mid-step and yanked me back into bed like I was a stolen prize. She curled tighter around me and purred. Or maybe it was a rumble of satisfaction. Either way, it vibrated my ribs. "Okay," I sighed. "I give up. I'm yours. Happy?" She licked my neck and made a small, pleased sound. Then she finally fell asleep. I didn't. Later, the ship therapist tried to help. "You need to set boundaries," she said. "She bites people who say my name. That's a sign of attachment. She marked my jacket with her claws. That's the Farian for affection. She sniffed my laundry and then glared at me like I'd cheated on her. Maybe don't bring up laundry. I haven't been alone in 6 days. Relationships take work. I'm not in a relationship." "She walked in when you said that, didn't she?" A growl echoed through the bulkhead. The therapist's eyes widened. Maybe you are in a relationship. Her protectiveness escalated fast. I couldn't speak to anyone for more than 20 seconds without her flaring her claws. She even glared at vending machines if I lingered too long deciding what to buy. Eventually I confronted her. Or tried to. Look, I said. This isn't healthy. You need space. She tilted her head. I'm not a possession. She blinked. You don't own me. She stepped forward and placed her claws on my chest. Okay, bad phrasing. She leaned in, nose brushing my jaw. I froze. I need room to breathe. She exhaled slowly, resting her forehead against mine. Then she stepped back. I sighed in relief. She then turned, marched into the corridor, and snarled at the first person she saw. Apparently, space meant everyone else needed to keep their distance. By now, the crew treated me like I was radioactive. Not because they didn't like me, but because approaching me meant potentially triggering a territorial werewolf with abandonment issues and the bite force of a hydraulic clamp. Commander Ralvin called me in. She can't stay on this ship like this. Trust me, I agree. She nearly tore an ensign's arm off. He looked at me funny. He sneezed. He aimed it in my direction. Either way, Ralvin growled. This ends now. Detach the bond. I don't know how. Find out. So I asked the onboard xenolinguist. He had a bad limp. She bit him 2 days ago. She thinks you're hers, he said. Yeah, I got that. To unbond, she'd need to choose it. It has to come from her. Great. So what? I just ask her to stop loving me. Essentially. She'll kill me. She'll cry, then kill you. Probably. I took a deep breath. Then went back to my quarters and found her curled up on my bed, holding my pillow like it was me. She looked up with sleepy, glowing eyes and made a happy little chuff when she saw me. I nearly backed out. But I sat down beside her and cleared my throat. We need to talk. She perked up. This bond thing, it's not working. For me. Her ears drooped. I didn't mean to start it. I didn't even know what I was doing. I'm just a guy. A mechanic. You need someone who gets your world. Who understands your instincts. Someone who wants this. Her eyes narrowed. She sat up slowly. I'm not rejecting you, I added quickly. I'm just saying, you deserve better than an anxious human who panics when you lick his fingers. She blinked once. Then twice. And then she leaned in, nose brushing mine. No more growling, I whispered. She grunted. No more biting people who talk to me. A flick of her ears. And please, just let me breathe. She stood up, moved to the door, and sat there, staring back like she was daring anyone to approach. I sighed. Close enough. At least she wasn't biting the walls anymore. That night she stayed on the other side of the room. No growling. No nest building. Just watching me. And in the morning? She was gone. Just a note clawed into my wall. You are mine. But I will wait. Until you choose it too. I didn't know whether to be touched or terrified. Probably both. 3 days passed without a trace of her. No growling, no licking, no silent stalking through the corridors. The ship felt colder. Quieter. Safer, but somehow emptier too. People started talking to me again. A few even joked. She finally got bored of you. Guess she found a better chew toy. You single now or just less claimed? I laughed like it didn't sting. I even convinced myself I was relieved. No more territorial rages. No more waking up with claw marks on my pillow or waking up not alone at all. But I kept checking corners. Listening for soft pads on steel. Watching for glowing eyes in the shadows. I'd gotten used to her. Which was the problem. She was gone, but her presence lingered. Like a smell in the room after something wild has passed through. My bunk still smelled like her, ozone and wild spice. My jacket still had a faint bite scar on the collar. And every time someone touched me, I flinched. Like I was waiting for her to leap from a vent and shred them. Then I found out where she went. Not from the ship logs. Not from any briefing. From the screams. She was in the lower cargo hold, locked involuntarily. According to the logs, she requested temporary isolation for containment of emotional instability. The AI flagged it as self-initiated rewilding phase. I didn't know what that meant until I saw the walls. Claw marks. Deep ones. Like she'd fought her own instincts and lost. For everywhere. And a dented steel panel that looked like she'd thrown herself against it repeatedly. She didn't speak when I entered. She just looked at me from the shadows, eyes glowing, chest heaving. I held up my hands. I'm not here to pull you out. She blinked slowly. I'm here because I can't stop thinking about the way you looked at me. Like I was yours. Like I mattered more than logic or protocol or anyone else. A low rumble built in her throat. I told you I wasn't ready. But the truth is I was scared. She didn't move. I'm still scared. You're wild. You're terrifying. And the way you touch me, it scrambles my brain. You lick me like you're starving and I'm meat and air. She stepped forward, slow and deliberate. I don't know what this is, I whispered. But I think I want to find out. Together. She closed the distance between us, one soft step at a time. No growl. No snarl. Just heat. Raw, vibrating heat. When her claws brushed my jaw, I didn't flinch. When she leaned in, I tilted forward. Her lips didn't meet mine. Instead, she pressed her forehead to mine again, same as before. But this time, she trembled. Not from rage. From restraint. I wrapped my arms around her. She didn't resist. You waited, I said. She exhaled through her nose. I'm choosing. She pulled back slightly, eyes searching mine. Then she whispered, in halting but clear English. Then, I claim again. With no fight. Later, the bond flared back to life. Not like before. Not all claws and jealousy. Something deeper. I didn't know Lefarians could purr that quietly. It was like thunder whispered through my bones. Her scent stuck to me again, but this time, it didn't feel like branding. It felt like belonging. I walked into the mess hall with her at my side. She didn't growl. She didn't snarl. She simply existed beside me, radiant, terrifying, proud. And when someone glanced too long, she didn't bare her teeth. She simply placed her hand on mine. A silent message. Mine. But not property. Not dominance. Chosen. The change was subtle, but everyone felt it. She wasn't guarding me from the world anymore. She was guarding us. She still stared down anyone who got too close, but she didn't lunge. She trusted me to set the boundaries. And when I spoke, she listened. When I kissed her, because eventually I had to, it was like setting off a flare in a starless void. She didn't know how to kiss. Not the human way. So she nipped my bottom lip, then licked the blood, then growled like I was her favorite mistake. And I kissed her again, harder. She didn't need instructions after that. We didn't tell the commander. He didn't need to know what happened in Maintenance Bay 3 when the cameras mysteriously shorted out. Or why the walls had claw marks and a very specific burn pattern shaped suspiciously like my back. We also didn't explain the scent neutralizer bills. Or why her eyes glowed brighter every time I brushed her hand in public. What mattered was, the crew stopped making jokes. Some of them looked at me with fear. Others with envy. And a few just whispered behind cupped hands, "He tamed her?" They didn't understand. I didn't tame her. She let me in. And I let her stay. And now we were something else. Something more dangerous. Because it wasn't just scent or instinct anymore. It was choice. And when a werewolf girl chooses you, not because of biology or ritual, but because she wants you, you become hers in ways deeper than scars. And no one dared test that again. Not after what she did to the ambassador who winked at me. That's another story. But it starts with a growl, and ends with me telling her, "Let go." He's already unconscious. She sniffed the man, scoffed, then dragged me back to our quarters. You. Mine. Yeah, I said. I figured that out a while ago. Then she pounced. Things didn't quiet down after that. If anything, they escalated. Her instincts evolved. Not just possessive now, protective. Hyper-aware. Always watching, even when she pretended to sleep. One night, she growled in her sleep, clawed the wall, then rolled over and wrapped herself tighter around me like her body needed constant contact to stay calm. But I wasn't complaining. I'd learned her moods. I could smell the shift in her when something triggered her instincts, the twitch in her nose, the subtle flex of her claws. If someone brushed my shoulder in the hallway, she didn't need to see it happen. She already knew. She'd appear within minutes, casually leaning on the wall, eyeing the person like a predator deciding whether to pounce. I'd also learned how to soothe her. A hand behind her neck. A whispered word in her ear. Letting her lick my jaw once, just to reset the bond. It became a rhythm. Strange. Intimate. Ours. But Command didn't like it. I was summoned for a private debrief. They didn't ask questions, they issued warnings. Whatever this is, end it. Your relationship poses a diplomatic risk. Alien bonding rituals don't supersede fleet protocol. I didn't argue. I just nodded and left. She was waiting outside the room. She sniffed once, narrowed her eyes, and said flatly, "They tried to threaten what is mine." I didn't answer. I just looked at her and said, "Do you want to leave?" She blinked. "With you?" "With each other." That night, we made plans. Not to run, not exactly, but to separate ourselves. Transfer to a less diplomatic assignment. Border patrols. Fringe runs. Cargo escort. Anything away from political entanglements and eyes that kept asking questions. She didn't need much. A territory. A den. A reason to buy anyone who got too close to what she claimed. And I was becoming part of that territory. The next few days passed like a countdown. We submitted transfer requests. We packed light. She kept her claws close and her temper closer. But before we could leave, something snapped. An outpost distress signal. Civilian mining colony under siege. Pirates. Plasma-grade weaponry. Hostages. All available ships rerouted, including ours. She didn't like it. Too many eyes. Too much blood. Makes me unstable. "I need you," I said. She growled, but nodded. We arrived mid-firefight. The colony was half-ash by then. She didn't wait for orders. She leapt from the ramp before it touched the ground. The pirates never stood a chance. She didn't kill them, barely. But she marked them. Fast. Vicious. Teeth through armor, claws across visors, screams silenced by the weight of her fury. I followed. Rifle up. Heart pounding. Not just because of the battle, but because of her. She moved like rage wrapped in fur and heat. She fought like she was protecting something sacred. Me. They cornered me once. 3 of them. Guns raised. I ducked, rolled, fired once, and then she was there. One of them screamed until she bit his weapon in half and hurled it into the sky. "Touch him again," she snarled, "and I eat your lungs." The others dropped their weapons. We saved the colony. Got the official commendation. Command even reversed our transfer, wanted us, visible, now. Wanted her on propaganda vids. The alien girl who fought for humans. She wasn't thrilled. "They don't see what I am. They see a weapon. Not a mate." "They're wrong," I said. "Let's prove it." She tilted her head. "How?" I didn't answer with words. I took her to the observation deck that night. No one else around. Just us, a bottle of contraband liquor, and the cold glow of distant stars. She curled beside me, warm and tense. I touched her face. She closed her eyes. "I don't want people to fear you," I said. "I want them to understand. You didn't bond to own. You bonded to belong." She opened her eyes. You get it. I feel it. Then she kissed me. Not wild. Not dominant. Just slow. Purposeful. Her claws never even extended. Her tail curled around my leg like a question, and I answered with a kiss deeper than instinct. And then she whispered in my ear. Next time you bleed, I won't growl. Why not? I'll heal it. How? She bit me gently, right over my pulse. I felt it then. The bond. Not just heat or scent or pheromones. Something deeper. Old. Alien. Binding. Her breath hitched. You're mine, she whispered. But now, I'm yours too. I pulled her closer. Took you long enough. Later, the crew started calling us the pair. Not in mockery. Not anymore. In awe. She snarled less often. But when she did, it was justified. And no one questioned why I always wore a bite mark just above my collarbone, or why she growled softly every time I left her side, even just for a shower. The bond didn't weaken. It deepened. Grew roots. And sometimes, when the lights were low and she curled up in my bed like a heat-seeking storm, I'd ask her what it meant to be bonded forever. She never answered with words. She'd just look at me with those glowing eyes and run her claw along my chest, slow and soft. And I'd feel it again. That primal certainty. I wasn't just loved. I was kept. And I wouldn't have it any other way.